Khreshchatyk, one of the most famous streets not only in Ukraine but in the world. It's only 1,200 meters long. That is why it is considered to be one of the shortest central streets on the planet. And the history of Khreshchatyk Street dates back about 200 years. During the times of the Kievan Rus, this used to be a dense forest where princes went hunting.
When I bring people to a suburban forest, I tell them, just imagine, this is what Khreshchatyk looked like 1,000 years ago.
Khreshchatyk received its name in 1869. To this day, historians argue about the origin of the name, which is derived from the Ukrainian word for cross. According to one version, Khreshchatyk was a place where ravines intersected. The other version suggests that the street was named in honor of the Christianization of Kievan Rus.
The baptizing of the Kievan Rus took place not far from here, in the Dnipro River, and gradually the name Khreshchatyk started to be used for this part of the city.
City life gradually moved here from the district of Podil. At the beginning of the 20th century, Khreshchatyk became the center of Kyiv. Banks, shops, and restaurants started to pop up here.
There was a famous cake shop at this place where a flagpole is located now. And in 1917, some 100 years ago, during the war, Yaroslav Gashek, along with a group of drunken soldiers, broke into this cafe and caused a huge problem. Then they were detained by military police and sent to a military prison. And in this military prison, where Yaroslav Gashek was held for 10 days, he wrote the first chapters of his famous novel, The Good Soldier Shveik.
Life on Khreshchatyk was actively developing. The first skyscraper in Kyiv was built here, as well as the first electric tram line in the Russian Empire, and the first major recording studio. Its melodies can still be heard 100 years later.
The 5 best cinemas, a central post office, a city council building, 2 large department stores, the 5 best restaurants and cafes, a circus, a pawn shop, 5 large hotels, and over 100 best shops burnt down. Many libraries, interesting documents and valuable things were destroyed.
During World War II, Khreshchatyk was burnt to the ground by the Soviet troops while they were retreating. The first landmines exploded near Borizna Street. The neighboring buildings blew up in a moment. Then the entire city center caught fire. The Germans weren't able to extinguish the flame. The Bolsheviks had destroyed the waterworks and moved out the firefighting equipment. Russia still doesn't admit the crime.
They say it was the fault of the Germans. We weren't there. You know, there is such a popular political slogan now. We were not in Donbass. You voted in Crimea on your own, and we were not there. We were never in Syria as well. It was the same story in 1941. We were never there. It happened on its own.
The reconstruction of Khreshchatyk started in 1943, after the liberation of Kyiv. Almost all of the city's residents helped to clean up the debris and rebuild the street.
А поруч працює популярний артист цирку Кіо з своїми незвичайними асистентами.
Since then, Khreshchatyk is made of stone. Only a few buildings at the end of the street, where the fire didn't reach, remind people how it looked before the war.
Here are very old buildings, relatively. For Kyiv they are old, as they are more than 100 years old, and a wonderful building of the Bessarabsky market, built in 1911 by the best European standards of that time.
The reconstructed Khreshchatyk soon reclaimed its role as the center of the city life. Numerous performances, festivals, and military parades are held here. Reported by Lyubov Zadorozhna, UATV.